My name is Elysia English and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is so much fun because Mother's Day is just around the corner. Being a mom myself, it's one of my favorite days of the year because I always get spoiled by my boys and they always think of something heartfelt to give me for Mother's Day. Which brings us to the topic of today's video. Today I'm working with Cricut, who teamed up with Home Depot to be able to show you how you can purchase items at your homedepot.ca and then be able to make heartfelt gifts using your Cricut. So during this video, I'm going to show you all the materials and supplies and how to make really easy ideas that any mother would love to get this Mother's Day season. To be able to bring these ideas to life, we need to go shopping at Home Depot to pick up everything we need.
Pretty little thing, you're a diamond in the rough, shining from within. I can tell that you're tough. Just the sight of you when I'm at my weakest point makes a world of difference, oh you make me strong. Pretty little thing, you're a diamond in the rough, shining from within. I can tell that you're tough. Ordering a cup of love, feel it rising up and above. You will always keep my heart and soul strong. Plant your seeds and watch them grow. The light will always know where to go. You will always keep my heart and soul strong.
Did you know you can find all of your favorite Cricut products at homedepot.ca, shopping right from the comfort of your home? When I think of Mother's Day, I always think of flowers and personalized items that are specific for that mother. And so I know that my mom loves to do gardening on her balcony, and I thought it would be such a cute idea to create a custom seed box that's from our family to her. And so what I did was I went and found a generic box at homedepot.ca. And you can find these in the decor section. And it just has a removable lid. I thought it was a really nice size. And I already liked the distressed look of this box. A really easy thing to customize because this box is already built for you. And then I headed to the lumber area where they had thin pieces of 1/4-inch plywood and MDF and picked myself up a little sheet. I just pre-cut myself 2 little dividers that are going to go inside of my seed box. Then I headed to where I could find some fancy gold hardware and picked up some gold hinges, a cute little clasp, and even some little custom feet that can go on the bottom of my seed box. Now that I have the items that I need for the first DIY project, we're going to put this all together and then we can make it heartfelt by heading to our Cricut. So my 2 little dividers don't match my box, so I want to paint them white, and they're just going to insert in here so that we can separate some seed packets that we're going to put in the box.
Hey, I heard you want to leave this place where we grew up. This old town, just put it all behind. Remember you and I would always find somewhere to hide when we were kids, so we could see and hear the water run. River's gonna cry when you're gone.
And then these are little finger pulls that you would put on a door, and I'm going to use those for feet at the bottom.
Where will you go? Won't you miss the ones you know? I'll be here hanging on.
We should have done a mini hammer.
Seems like time as a wave passing by, leave a mark in our marks to turn to memories.
So I'm logged into my Cricut Design Space, which is a free software that comes with your Cricut. It's really plug and play. I'm just opening a file that I labeled Seed Box that I'm going to be able to create this custom label that I did by using the text option. You can design your own designs by using different fonts that come with your program and then images that you can select right from the Cricut Design Space. There are so many to choose from. And the amazing thing is that your Cricut can cut over 300 different types of materials, so your possibilities for projects are endless. So what I'm doing is selecting a different font to show you just how easy it is to customize it any way that you want. And then we're going to head to the images option to be able to find a sunflower to put with this. I took some time and did my own little custom one with our family name, English Homestead, showing that the seeds will be coming from our garden. Searching here in the Cricut images to find a sunflower image. And you can see there are so many unique ones you can choose from. I'm going to pick this one here and add it to my canvas. Once it's attached to my canvas, I can drag it and create a different size that's going to fit my project. It's just to drag the box and then drop it where you want it. Once you've completed the design that you want, you can click Make It. Your Cricut program is going to ask you if you'd like to cut with a mat or without a mat. When you're using smart products like the Cricut ones that you can purchase at homedepot.ca, you don't actually have to cut with a mat, which is what I'm choosing to do with a matte black. I'm going to put this through and print out my seed packet and the label for the front of my box. It's going to look for my amazing Cricut Maker 3, which opens in the cutest way possible. It's a great addition to my art studio. And then it's going to ask you what type of material you're going to put into your machine. Again, smart vinyl permanent without a mat. Going to load it into the machine by pushing the double arrow. Your Cricut Maker 3 is going to measure the length of the materials that I put in so that you can make sure that you have enough to complete your project. Once it's measured and you know you're good to go, you're going to push the play button and then your design is going to be brought to life. So we're going to set that aside because we're going to make some little custom seed packets that are specifically from us to Nana. And then I used some smart permanent vinyl to cut this out, which is why I didn't need to cut with a cut mat because I was able to use the smart products. And I want this to be permanent on the front of my box, which is why I chose the permanent option. And I liked the flat matte black. I'm going to make this a little more manageable. And then using my weeding tool, I have a Cricut weeding tool here, I'm going to take off all of the vinyl that I don't want onto the front of my box. So what I've done is I have made a seed packet storage and it says English Homestead. So it means it comes from our garden to Nana. And I'm going to put it on the front of the box here. And to transfer the image on, now that I have all of the vinyl weeded off that I don't want, I'm going to use some Cricut transfer tape. It's like a big clear sticker that will help you to transfer your image onto the product that you want it to go on. So you peel off the white backing and you have this little grid system here and you just lay it on top of your design. And then you can use your little scraping tool here that Cricut has. Push it firmly onto the transfer tape, and then you will be able to pick up your image with the tape. Okay, and I have it in place where I want it, so I can just push it down with the transfer tape, and then peel off the transfer tape, which will leave on the image that you transferred on. They're now on the front of our box. We have our little heartfelt personalization on the front. Now I want to take this one step further and I thought it would be really cute, in addition to adding this with seed packets that we picked up at Home Depot, that we could make some of our own custom seed packets. So I'm going to head back to the Cricut and cut out a template that's just a blank plain seed packet that we can then customize to put into our box. So to create the seed packet, I thought it would be really cute if the inside of the seed envelope had flowers on it. That would be the kind of garden vibe we're going for. And then the outside is white. And so because I've used my Cricut mat here so many times in my machine, I'm going to add just a little bit of tape to the corners to keep this in place. And I want to do a little bit of an oversized seed packet. That way I can fill it with larger seeds like sunflowers, which I know is our kids' Nana's favorite. So we're going to be able to put some larger seeds in the larger packets in our box. Just using a little bit of painter's tape on just the corners here. When you start to use your mat a lot, you want to be able to replace it every once in a while, and I use mine a lot, so we're just going to use a little bit of tape here. And then head back to our Cricut machine so that we can actually cut out our blank seed packet template. Heading back to the Cricut design space, I'm going to search for a blank template for a seed packet that I can then make more heartfelt by adding our customization. So I'm going to make this project. If I want to customize it, I can change the size or add more details, but I'm going to keep it just as it is. Because I'm going to be using some cardstock, I want to cut using my mat, so I'm going to choose the option on mat.
And then it's going to bring up the template. It's going to show me exactly what it's going to look like when it cuts it out. Looking for my Maker 3, I get to again select my materials, and this time I'm going to choose a medium cardstock. And since I'm using a thinner cardstock, I'm going to change my default to cut a little less deep. My Cricut Maker 3 is going to measure the length of my cardstock to ensure that I have enough for the template of my seed pack, and then we get to hit play.
So now we have a nice, really easily cut out template for a seed packet, and we're going to use a little bit of glue, and because I want the flowers to be on the inside, I'm going to reverse fold it. So I know that I have to put the sides in like this and just give it a little crease fold, and I'm going to fold in this side, a little crease fold, and then the bottom, crease fold. You can see inside my little seed packet, once I glue it, I will have the flowers on the inside. This is going to be my little sealing lid so that my seeds won't fall out in the end. I'm going to open it back up a little bit now and just use a little glue pen to be able to seal up my packet. How cute is that? And then what I want to do is add a really cute personalization to the front, which is why when we were doing our seed packet logo for the front of the box, I also printed out this cute little logo that I designed up to be able to put on the front. It has a little sunflower for our sunflower seeds, and it says English Homestead Seeds. And I'm going to transfer it onto the front of it using my Cricut transfer tape. So this is the exact same process we used. And I'm using this same piece of transfer tape because you can reuse this multiple times. So same, I'm going to transfer it onto my transfer tape here and then onto the seed packet. Okay, I pre-made a few. For the second DIY, we're going to make some little personalized keepsakes that are going to be perfect for your mom's fridge. I love photos and I like to have them as many places as possible, and why not on the fridge? So we're going to look at some of the materials that we picked up at Home Depot. We picked up some of this 1/4-inch poplar, which I'm going to cut the Polaroid photo shapes on, and then also just a small pack of magnets. So to create the template for the Polaroid photo, we're going to use the Cricut to help us to make the shape. So I'm going to use a piece of cardstock on my Cricut cut mat and send it through the Cricut to create our shape.
So I'm going to search on the designs on the Cricut design space to find a blank Polaroid photo template. I'm going to find one that's really basic and simple because I want this to be a very minimalist look design. So I'm going to choose this one here. It has a little Christmas floret in the corner that I'm going to ignore when I actually trace. So I'm going to choose that I'm going to use a mat because I'm printing out on my cardstock. And this is just going to be a tracer. It's going to look at the template design and show you exactly what it's going to look like, and then I'm going to click Continue. It's going to look for my Cricut Maker 3, and then I get to choose that I'm using cardstock and load it through the machine to be able to create the template.
So I have my little piece of cardstock with my Polaroid shape on it, and I'm going to use the piece of 1/4-inch poplar and trace my image onto the wood. I'm just going to use a faint pencil and then scroll saw cut out my shape. So I need to cut out some straight lines, but I also need to cut out the square that's in the middle of the photo frame. So I'm going to create a little pilot hole so that the blade of my saw can fit in. I'm going to give my little shapes a little bit of a sand, and then we'll be able to put our photos in. So now that our Mother's Day memory photos are in, we get to add our magnets. So I just bought magnets on a little roll, and then you can cut them to the length that you want. And my idea was just to be able to have just a strip at the back. That way I'll be able to have a nice secure hold on the fridge when the door opens and shuts. These are really lightweight, which is why I chose the 1/4-inch poplar, because not only does it look like a nice wood when you sand it, but also it doesn't have any weight to it. So I love flowers for Mother's Day, but flowers don't last that long. And so with Cricut, I can make a keepsake paper flower that's going to last in a vase for so much longer. I pre-made a couple of these to show you just absolutely how gorgeous these turned out. I did sort of a different combination with some cardstock. I'm going to show you how I made these. When we went to take our trip to Home Depot, I wanted to grab some dowel and something that I could make some beautiful stems for the flowers. So I found this really neat one wrap Velcro that had sort of a furry looking flower stem look to it that I'm going to wrap on the dowel. And in the gardening section, they had some beautiful pots. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to make a vase of beautiful paper flowers that are going to last so much longer and put them into our vase. So we're going to head to the Cricut and create our 3D paper flowers. So following the 3D paper printing that I'm going to do using the Cricut Design Space, I'm going to follow the template, and it's going to tell me what colors of cardstock that I need to put into the machine. So we're going to start with brown to be able to make the centers of the sunflower. And what I'm going to do is use my less tacky cut mat here. It's a light grip. And when you're using paper, it's going to shift a little bit if you don't have a newer mat. And so I'm going to use just a couple tiny pieces of tape just to keep it in place, since I've used my mat lots of times for lots of projects. And then we're going to feed it into the machine. And it's going to tell us on each page, after each one's printed, what is our next color of cardstock to put onto our grip mat to print out the shapes to be able to create our flower.
So I'm searching for 3D paper flowers, and there are lots of different flowers you can choose from, but I have my heart set on a sunflower, and so I'm going to click this 3D sunflower. You can see if you scroll down further on here, it's going to give you a step-by-step assembly tutorial with the images and everything you need to follow to be able to put this together once you make it. So I'm going to click make it and send it to my canvas here to be able to choose if I'm going to use a mat or not. And I'm choosing to cut with cardstock, so I'm going to cut on the mat. And on the left-hand side here, it's going to tell you exactly which color of cardstock that you need to put through the machine as it's cutting. And so I'm actually going to be using a smaller paper, so I'm going to choose to have a narrower version of my design here. And then I'm going to click continue. The Cricut Maker 3 is already connected, and so it's going to ask me what material, and I'm going to choose cardstock. And since I'm using a thinner cardstock, I want to make my default pressure to cut a little less. And then I'm going to have it send to the machine and line everything up, putting my first color of brown paper into the Cricut Maker 3 to cut.
Now that I have all of my flower shapes cut out, I have leaves, petals, and I have some brown inserts for the middle. I'm going to fold them. So I have a thinner and a thicker strip. And what I want to do is just fold them in half like this to be able to create a little frayed top. I'm just going to pinch it using the table. So you're just going to basically make little triangle teepees like this. And I'm going to do that for all of the brown strips. And then what I'll be able to do is use my Cricut tweezers to be able to pinch the top just like that. And then I'm going to roll it all the way around on the end of my tweezers. You can see I'm creating just a little bit of a floret that will be able to go in the center of my sunflower. And once I get the first layer on, I'm going to add another layer, working my way from the thinner of the brown strips all the way, adding to the thicker ones until it's complete. Using the Cricut tweezers really helped me to be able to roll that and get the first layers of the smaller brown insides to be able to roll together. Once you get to a certain point, it's big enough to hold in your hand. You can just keep wrapping with the design that you already have cut out. And what the cutout actually did was made these little fringes, so as you're rolling it around, it's making this cute little detailing that will go in the center of your flower. So I'm going to keep rolling it. I want to have quite a large center for my sunflower. Now I'm just using a little bit of hot glue because it dries super fast. If you're going to use a glue that's not hot glue, you're gonna have to kind of sit and hold it the whole way around. And so this is just a much faster way to be able to do it. And less glue is perfectly fine. You don't have to glue all the way around. You can make yourself a whole pass around, add another little dot, and then kind of add it just at the end. You don't need it on every little strip because it doesn't really come apart. Now that you have the center of the flower created, you can add a little more detailing from another cutout that's provided from the design space, and that is this little center that your inside will go on. And if you put it on like this, it's going to look very two-dimensional, and so you can use your little scraper that comes with your Cricut toolkit and actually curl it like as if you were going to curl a ribbon. And so I'm just going to hold the ends and curl it up, and you can see I can add a little bit of a three-dimensional flare by just pulling it along and kind of ripping it like as if you were going to curl a ribbon end. Now I have a little bit more of a three-dimensional shape. You can fold it however much you want to curl it. And then I'm going to add glue to the back of my circle, center. You don't need a lot because it's just thin cardstock, and attach it to the middle. Okay, now the fun part, we get to do a lot of work to be able to create these little petals that are going to go on. The cutout actually creates 3 separate yellow circles here with these indents, and you get a whole bunch of the flower petals, and they have a little cutout on them. So you can make this a lot more 3D by following the cutout. So I'm just bending it forward. I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue, and you can see it will create a little bit of a pocket, and then you're going to glue them on each of the nods all the way around for all 3 of these. And you have various sizes of the petals, so you want to put the smaller ones all together on one, medium on another, and large on the other. So I'm going to work my way all the way around to create the petals. And you can curl these just like you did with the edges of the brown center, just by adding a little bit of the flat edge on the little scraper tool there, and you can curl it as much as you want, or you can leave it flat and then just fold it at the end. It's really just a matter of preference, but I thought having it curled would really look like more of a realistic sunflower, since the petals usually have curls in different directions.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations. Oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken, 'cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.
Now that we have our adorable base for our sunflower, sunflowers are my absolute favorite, and so this is really cute to be able to bring this 3D paper flower to life. I think it looks pretty realistic, so I'm going to now put the insert on the middle, just adding a little bit of hot glue to the back. Again, you don't need a lot because it's just a thin cardstock, and place it down in the middle. And you can fan out your inside of your flower if you want to, but I kind of like it in a tight roll since that's how sunflowers look. So you can see we have this really beautiful detailed sunflower, and I'm going to put some greenery along the back. And then when we were shopping at Home Depot, we were able to pick up a really neat textured Velcro that's actually for plants that has sort of a white furry look to it, which is very similar to a realistic stem of a sunflower. And we hit the section where they had different size dowels. What we're going to do is wrap the dowels around with some of this fuzzy greenery to be able to make the stems look real, and bring these to even more of a 3D to life using a planter that we picked up in the garden center. I think I'm gonna add my leaves to my stem this time, because the ones that I pre-made, I added them to the base of the flower, and so I think it'll look neat to have it on the actual part of the dowel. I don't know exactly how much I'm going to need to work my way all the way down, so I'm just gonna start at the top, because it's going to get hidden anyways, and wrap it around. Put some hot glue on the back. So then I have my furry, realistic looking stem, and I have some leaves that came with my cutout that I'm going to attach on as well. And then we're going to display them by putting them into our pot that we picked up at the store. And I'm going to attach the rest of these so that I can make a full bouquet.
Great.
Lasts so much longer than fresh flowers.
Yeah.
These 3D paper flowers were really easy to make following the directions that came right on the Creative Design Studio platform. It actually told me step by step exactly how to roll it and fold it, so it was really easy for me to make a few off camera and then be able to show you really quickly and easily just how simple this was to put together using only cardstock. And then with the help of a few items that we picked up at Home Depot, we can make this look like a much more polished project by adding it into a beautiful pot or vase. And those dowels and the Velcro from the plant holder really helped to be able to make this look really realistic. We were able to make 3 really creative projects that any mother would love for Mother's Day, and these are so versatile. You can make them for nanas, aunts, sisters, best friends, anyone that's a mother that's special in your life. Thank you so much to Cricut for sponsoring this video. It is one of my absolute favorite brands to work with. Leave a comment down below if you have a special tradition that you always do for Mother's Day, and what are your absolute favorite things to make for Mother's Day using your Cricut.